He delivered his message with a cocky swagger in an hour-long video. Boko Haram's leader boasting his men would sell them at market, them being the more than 200 high school girls the radical Islamist sect kidnapped 3 weeks ago in northeast Nigeria's Borno state. We're going to look at the timing of the announcement on the eve of a major World Economic Forum event that's been billed as what was to be billed as a celebration of Nigeria officially dethroning South Africa as the continent's largest economy. It's taking place in a capital city, Abuja, that's twice been hit by suicide attacks blamed on Boko Haram. So far, though, instead of rescuing the Chibok high school students whose supporters have gone global thanks to the Bring Back Our Girls hashtag, the President and First Lady have rowed with victims' families and activists, two of them briefly detained on Monday. The U.S. is now promising help in the form of experts that include hostage negotiators. But how should Goodluck Jonathan handle the rescue? How should he handle Boko Haram? What does it all say about Nigeria's prospects going forward? Today, in the France 24 debate, we're looking at Nigeria's outrage over Boko Haram. And with us to talk about it from Lagos, we welcome Ayo SOGUNRO, attorney and writer, author of The Wonderful Life of Senator Boniface and Other Sorry Tales. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you very much.
Here in the studio, we're pleased to welcome Nigerian academic Emmanuel. Welcome back to the show. You're director of Phobos International. Julia OWONO of Internet Without Borders, and who hails from just over the border in Cameroon.
Yes.
And from another border, Prince Randy KOUSSOU Alam-Sogan, Beninois, who's just back from Abuja, chair and president of Black Lion Rising Investments Limited. Thank you for being back with us in the France 24 debate, where you can join the conversation on Facebook and Twitter, our hashtag F24debate. Let's start, if you will, with a small clip from that video that was released on Monday. Boko Haram's leaders claiming responsibility for the abduction of 3 weeks ago at a boarding school where girls were getting set to sit high school exams.
I have kidnapped a girl from a school with Western education, and that bothers you. I say that Western education must end. It must end. The girls must leave and get married.
We've heard of Boko Haram for years now. Ayo SOGUNRO, why is this happening?
Well, if you ask a number of people, they will tell you that there are a lot of factors. They will give you different reasons for the existence of Boko Haram in the first place. But at this point, it's almost academic to start theorizing about how did it come about, what happened, why are we here. The underlying factor one can just simply say is that at the point when it should have been nipped in the bud, our government did not do that properly. Because if you recollect, we had a situation where when Boko Haram was still a minor sect in the northern parts of the extreme north of the country, what we heard in newspapers, what we saw on Al Jazeera back there was that they were being rounded up by the police and subjected to extrajudicial killings. And what should have been a much more intelligent approach was treated as a brute force issue, and it spiraled out of control and boomeranged, because from attacking the police, from attacking military bases, as well as their original modus operandi, Boko Haram began to infest the public and became what we are now all agree as a terrorist group. So really, one cannot really trace it to any one singular factor, except you want to call it the ineptitude of Nigerian government under the Yar'Adua administration and subsequently the Goodluck Jonathan administration.
All right, we're going to get the panel to react to that, but let me just ask you, Ayo, what's your reaction when you see the tone and the demeanor of Boko Haram's leader in that video?
Honestly, I avoided watching the video because it upsets me a lot. The first time I watched one of the Boko Haram videos, it was quite upsetting that this was happening in my own country. But I've also had some sort of, how will I put it, cynical reaction to these videos because they are almost all too convenient. It's almost, the way you see someone who just wants to take up, just create terror to fit the current psychology. It's almost as if they are mocking us. They really don't need a video, honestly.
Right,
when you see video, if Al-Qaeda is anything to be used as a precedent, their videos were almost often proofs to show the world that, look, we are holding this person or we are doing this thing. But this was more of a mockery response because they really didn't even they didn't put any of the girls on the video. They didn't show us what was going on. And all we had were just a ranting of someone who just wanted to show that, look, I'm in charge here and there's nothing you can do about it. So it was more to me a pandering and a mockery of the Nigerian people and the Nigerian government.
Julia OWONO, a mockery, would you say as well? Your reaction when you see this video?
Well, the video was, of course, very shocking. It's always very shocking to watch, criminals express freely while they should be probably in prison. But what's even more shocking, unfortunately, is to notice the value that is given to women and to young girls specifically by a country like Nigeria and neighboring country like Chad and Cameroon, because it's been almost 3 weeks now that these young girls have been abducted. And it's very surprising for me as a citizen and as a woman to notice that it takes 3 weeks and international attention for the government to officially at last react and say that they will try to do something. And it's even more frustrating as a Cameroonian to know that the neighboring country, which is Cameroon, where probably some of the girls are set to be at the moment, there has been no reaction from the Cameroonian authorities, no reaction from the Chadian government either. And this is a proof that, going back to Boko Haram issue, a blatant lack of cooperation to tackle this dangerous threat, which is terrorism, and which are these men, what these men are doing in the region. And what's even more striking to me is that these young girls are being reified just for no reason, and it takes 3 weeks so long for people to react. It's really shocking, really.
3 weeks. Your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think many Nigerians, if not most Nigerians, agree that it's taken too long. The government was probably too slow in either acting or communicating their action on this issue. I think I watched...
We spoke to one activist yesterday who said we don't, in fact, know the exact number of girls who are abducted.
Yes, that's really difficult to explain. Yeah, we had... at the beginning, they were talking of 130, 140. Then at some point, they said some of them had been released. Then at another point, we're hearing over 200. And so there is a real problem with communication on the issue. That is true.
Is this normal by Nigerian standards?
Well, in this Boko Haram crisis, it looks like the communication initiatives has always been on the side of Boko Haram, and it's not the best way for things to be. Government seems to be kind of running after the Boko Haram to explain and to react. And I think the Minister of Finance, Okonjo-Iweala, was talking yesterday to the press, and she admitted that there were communication flaws, and probably the government was acting and not saying enough about what they were doing behind the scenes to bring back these girls. But the government was acting, according to the Minister of Finance.
All right, and that's an interesting point. We have a tweet here, comment rather, on Facebook from Lovemore saying, we should just ask Boko Haram how much they want us to pay to release those innocent girls. I know that part of this saga, Ayo SOGUNRO, is that the government denies any hostage negotiating, but at the same time, we have reports that there indeed has been some back-channel activity.
Well, in fact, as early as a week and a half ago, I was informed by someone who was in touch with the military that there has been a significant disconnect between the presidency and the military regarding the rescue of the girls. And I was authoritatively informed, and I put this on Twitter, that the military action that was going on in Sambisa Forest and those of other people who are in the forest were independent actions. The military was just simply acting as they would in any normal reconnaissance or other patrol activity without any direct supervision from the presidency. In fact, I was further informed that the military had put in a request to the presidency for machinery, for equipment, for them to be able to go into the camps where the girls were housed, but they did not receive any response from the presidency. Now, what's the point of all this? As at 2 weeks ago, the presidency was still either deliberately or accidentally ignorant of what was going on in Borno State. It could have been skepticism on the part of the presidency, or it could have been genuine ignorance. I don't know. But the point was, while these independent negotiations were going on both by the military, the parents, and other parties, the presidency was out of the loop.
All right, let me ask Prince Randy. Let me just ask Prince Randy about this. You've just been to Abuja, a city that's been hit twice by attacks, bombings blamed on Boko Haram. Did you get a sense when you were there that the government was out of touch?
I didn't get that sense at all. In fact, I could have been deterred by going to Abuja for important investment meetings that we had there with local authorities and businesses. But I don't let these sort of things affect my desire to continue contributing to the economic growth of Nigeria and Africa as a whole. What I can tell you is that when I was in Abuja, I felt very safe. I did not feel like I was in a city that was under attack by any extremists of any kind. Now, this situation is obviously very serious, but those attacks are targeted at certain areas. I can assure you that Abuja is a very secure city. However, the real question here is to know who really is Boko Haram. You know, we are not sure what the leadership or the central command of Boko Haram is. You know, there's some reports that have surfaced that, you know, since they've lost their leader some years back, they've become uncontrollable and acted recklessly. But now we don't know exactly whether is this only a radical Islamist group that's trying to make a point and really install a religious state, which I doubt. There may be some elements of that, but I don't think that's a real agenda. I think it's a problem of economic inequalities, of injustice. And I believe that some people, as we are in the process of the run-up to the elections, the presidential elections early next year, some people may also be exploiting the Boko Haram group for political reasons. You know, so I think, you know, the government is right not to communicate everything they are doing to resolve the situation. There's a full investigation in process. And I believe that they're going to resolve the issue. They're going to come to a closure. But I would disagree with the fact that the government has been helpless or has not been doing enough. I believe it's a question of planning. It's a question of intelligence. You know, we have to be very careful what we communicate to whom.
Julia OWONO?
Well, it's interesting to hear that that the government has not been helpless. President Goodluck himself called for help yesterday.
Let's listen to him right now. The Obama administration this Tuesday promising military personnel, law enforcement officials with expertise in hostage negotiations, and this coming after Sunday evening's plea during a question-answer session by Goodluck Jonathan directed directly at the U.S. president.
I'm saying their people physically. Don't just sit there and say, no, there are some element of human rights abuses by our security personnel. No, just send those people. They are sending people to other parts of the world.
Sending us troops is what Goodluck Jonathan was saying. And the U.S. is not sending the army, but they are sending what they call experts. That's what the State Department is saying this Tuesday. Absolutely,
and probably we could ask ourselves to what extent these experts are not also involved in, you know, the whole discussion at the moment on how to counter terrorism in the sub-Saharan region at the moment in Africa. So yes, it's a move, but it's wrong to say that the Nigerian government is not helpless. Obviously, there has been this problem for several years now, and the answers found to counter that problem, unfortunately, have not been that efficient. And it's also very frustrating for citizens to tell them that we cannot tell you what we're doing, because the citizens are the ones who are suffering from these criminal actions. So we have to talk, and we are living in the 21st century. We have a tool now, which is internet, and we've seen what's happened. The government doesn't communicate. Citizens go online, they create a petition, and they point the finger at the government asking what they're doing. And what's even more frustrating is that, once again, on the other side of the Lake Chad, there is Chad and Cameroon, which are neighboring countries, which are also dealing with these with these attacks. Recently, the border between Chad and Cameroon has been closed because of Boko Haram attacks. So these countries are being completely silent on what they're doing, if ever they're doing something. We don't know as citizens, and it's really frustrating and frightening. And I wanted to add also on the Boko Haram issue, and more broadly on what's happening. It's obviously a question of social inequality. We are saying that Nigeria is the first economic power in Africa. We've been saying for years that Africa is rising. But what is this continent, or what is this country rising economically, and which cannot ensure the minimum to its citizens in terms of security, in terms of well-being? That's a question, and that's a big challenge, the biggest challenge for the continent and for the Nigerian government.
All right, a comment on Facebook from Ukonu saying, how is it possible that a convoy with 274 girls was moving and the authorities were not aware? Emmanuel, IGAH, your thoughts on the U.S. helping out. Is this the right way to go?
Well, of course, every country that can contribute in a situation like this should come forward.
And hearing President Jonathan make that plea for troops.
Probably that is also part of what Jonathan wants the public to know that he's doing right now. I don't think Jonathan waited until yesterday when he spoke, or was it today?
Sunday evening
to talk to the Americans about how they can help Nigeria. I think Nigerians are aware that right from the onset of this issue, this crisis, American experts have been discreetly assisting with all sorts of ways, communication with intelligence and all that. Not only America, the British too. We know, and the Israelis too. Sometimes it was even admitted by the government that they are being assisted by people.
So you're saying there's more things that we know going on behind the scenes.
A lot is happening behind the scene than what we know.
We're going to pick up on these points when we come back. You're watching the False Van Get debate.